My name is Tommy. I was 13 when this happened. My little brother Ben, he was 10 at the time. It was supposed to be the best week of our lives. Our parents surprised us with a trip to Disney World. No countdown, no waiting, just we leave tomorrow. Ben and I didn't sleep that night. At the airport, while my parents were checking in, a man had sat down beside us. He looked exhausted, pale, like he hadn't blinked in days. He didn't look at me when he spoke. However, he did say, "Be careful of the mascots." I thought he was joking, so I asked him why. He appeared to have swallowed hard, and then replied, "They don't always leave when the park closes." Before I could ask what that meant, he stood up and walked into the crowd. I never saw him again. However, in hindsight, I wish I had listened. The first day was normal. It was bright, loud, and crowded. We stayed at a hotel just outside the park. My parents took room 346. Ben and I were in room 345. That night after dinner, I stepped into the bathroom to brush my teeth, and that's when I heard it. There was a knock at our door. 3 slow taps. When I opened it, I saw that the hallway was empty. And when I turned back, Ben was sitting on his bed, staring at me. I asked him if he heard the knock, and that's when he shook his head no. I told myself it was someone else down the hall. When I went to close the door, there were 3 fresh handprints on the outside, and they were too large to be a kid's. The next day in the park, I noticed the first mascot watching us. It was Mickey. He stood near a popcorn stand, not waving, not posing for photos, just standing there, facing us. That's when I nudged Ben. I asked him if he saw that. When he looked up, he agreed that he did. We must have looked away for maybe 2 seconds, distracted by a stroller bumping into us. When we looked back, Mickey was closer. He wasn't walking, he was just closer, about 20 feet away now. No one else seemed to notice. Dad said we were being paranoid. We kept walking ahead, but every time I checked behind us, Mickey had moved. I never caught him in motion, but he was just always somewhere new, and more specifically, a little nearer each time. That night was when the mirror happened. While Ben was asleep, I went to the bathroom around midnight. The lights flickered once, and then they steadied. When I looked into the mirror, I felt that strange drop in my stomach, like missing a step on the stairs. Behind me, reflected in the glass, Mickey stood in the doorway. I spun around, but there was nothing there. I turned back to the mirror, and now he was closer, right behind me. I could see dark smears across the gloves, along the chin, something thick and almost black in the dim light. His head tilted slowly to one side. I couldn't move. I felt frozen. And that's when the bathroom light shut off. It did so for just a second, and when it came back on, I was alone. However, the mirror wasn't clean anymore. Written across the glass in something dark and streaked, it said,
"You left him alone."
As I wiped it with a towel, it smeared red. I didn't tell Ben. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't want it to be real. The third day, a family vanished. That's exactly how the staff phrased it. Unexpected early checkout. It was a family in the room across from ours. I remember seeing their little girl at the pool. That night, their door was open. I could see the lights were on and the beds were unmade, and even the suitcases were still there. However, no staff would ever answer questions. That evening, we saw 3 mascots standing at the far end of the hotel lobby. They weren't entertaining guests. They weren't posing. They were just standing in the line, watching the elevators. Ben squeezed my hand, and he whispered to me that they are waiting, and I looked back at him and asked him what for. He simply didn't answer back. That night, I woke up to the sound of our door opening. There was no knocking, just creaking open. I sat up, and the room was dark, except for the hallway light spilling across the carpet. That's when I saw it. A tall silhouette stood in the doorway. It had round ears and white gloves. Ben was still asleep in the other bed. However, this figure had stepped inside. It didn't walk like a person. It shifted. One moment, it was near the door. The next, it was halfway across the room. It wasn't fast. It wasn't blurred. It was just wrong. It was like frames missing from a video. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. The head turned towards Ben, and the lights flickered. Next thing I know, the figure was gone and the door was closed. I looked over to Ben's bed, and what I saw made me afraid. It was empty. I ran to my parents' room. They didn't believe me at first, but that was until we checked the hallway. 3 doors down, another room was wide open. As we peered inside, it was another family that had gone. There was no luggage missing. There was no sign of struggle, just absence. When we questioned security, they said that they saw nothing unusual on the cameras. But I saw something they didn't. In the reflection of the lobby's polished floor, behind the officer talking to my dad, there were 4 mascots stood near the entrance, watching us. When I blinked, they were all gone. My dad told my mum that we had to leave and not to risk my life as well as Ben's. He tried to calm her down and assured her that he will look into this. My mum has not spoken since. 3 months after I lost my brother, my mum had disappeared too. From our house, there didn't appear to be any forced entry, nor were there signs of anything wrong, except the bathroom mirror. Dad found the message. He tried stopping me from seeing it and told me to go to bed. Later, I took a sneak peek, and it said,
You keep leaving them.
I don't go near theme parks anymore. I don't watch commercials. But sometimes, late at night, I think about something. The mascots never chased us. They never ran, never attacked. They just waited. And every time we looked away, they were closer. If you ever go to Disney and you see a mascot standing still, not performing, not moving, just watching, don't assume it's a break. And whatever you do, don't look away. If you are based in the UK and would like to enjoy freshly batch roasted coffee delivered to your door, visit vitalcoffee.co.uk and use the coupon code mrfreakystory to get 10% off from all products. I will leave a link in the description below.